competition who's after the same market, and with yourself, challenge your own incumbency and reinventing your offering always. A constant state of beta. Real innovation means a constant state of beta. You must be a challenger in your own incumbency. If you're not, someone else will eat your lunch. Which brings me back to the Sony scene. So, this company was unbelievable. It was a thrill to be in the company. The leader was so highly innovative. He was a manager, as I told you. And then he had a stroke and he died. And the company decided that they would put this gentleman in who was a good spokesperson for the company, honorable person, if you want his character. But his name was Ide, I-D-E. There was only one problem. He missed a letter in his name, the last letter of his name. There should be an A at the end. He had no idea of what he was doing. Not a clue. And he didn't know how to do it with anybody. So he had no idea what he was doing and didn't know how to do it. That's a formula for catastrophe, and you saw what happened. So they were the leader in the packaged media music business. You all know Sony Walkman, who was one of their core products, and picked up Sony products, he held them, just magic. So he saw himself, almost built it smaller, built it wider, put colors on it, it was great. Another fella in another part of the country said, what if I didn't have to schlep the music around? What happens if I could just listen to an MP3 on a digital device? Sony didn't do that. Steve Jobs ate his lunch, the entire music transportation business. They had the wrong identity. Sony saw themselves in the plastic goods and packaged goods business. The benefit of the audience was music. He was in the perfect position to connect artists, that's music, and audiences. The perfect position. He had the cultural experience, he had the knowledge of the marketplace, but he saw himself too narrowly. He defended his incumbency ferociously. And Steve Jobs ate his lunch. And the company's lunch. And that ran through the whole company for years, with all kinds of areas. Computers, screens, phones, because it became the attitude of the company. We're defended. And it's a good company even today. Solid people now there, good company. But the point is, it's a lesson. It's a lesson. Innovation has to be inspired at the top of the organization. And whether you're in the top of the organization, it's the top of your organization, even if you only have one person working for you, with you. You have to be an advocate for that. You have to be a challenger in your incumbency. He wasn't, and that's what happened. So instead of challenging it, he forced the legacy. Legacy doesn't work. Legacy is the intention of being successful in delighting your audience, delighting your customers, delighting your executives, delighting the people that are in the passages with you. Okay. We fail a lot. We fail a lot. We all fail. Why is it so necessary? Because it's necessary because nobody, not anybody on the planet, can innovate without really innovate well without having failure. So we have to recognize there should never be a hunt for the culprit when we have failure. You should always be able to analyze and decompose and deconstruct and see what went wrong and what didn't work. But the idea of a hunt for a culprit ruins the fact of an innovative stratosphere, an innovative environment in your organization. You ever wonder why there's so much more negative news than positive news? That's how networks get ratings. Because that's what our minds pay attention to. Back to the brain. The amygdala. It's a survival mechanism, a perfect survival mechanism. It's in our brain. And because when we see fear or feel fear, we feel a tingle in us, we either have fight or flight. That's how we survived. But today we have to look a little differently. Kind of look a little differently, especially in this innovative, fast-paced world for all your employees, partners, associates. When you feel that fear, that means something is happening. There's a change in the air. And be curious about it. Why am I feeling this way? It's good, not bad. You've got to stand guard at the portals of your mind. Because that's really important to recognize. That's the way you're feeling. Oh my God, because we're creatures of habit. We like everything to be the status quo. We want a 6-year-old to stay 6. We want a wife to be the same wife she was when she was 20, when we were dating. We want our boss to be the same guy with no problems. Now he has 15, he's treating us different. We can't do that. It won't happen. So that element is very important. You have to recognize it. It's a good thing. It's a sign that changes in the air. You're either an advocate, an enabler, or it's going to disable you. And you know, the brain is very interesting. It's like a death survival mechanism. It goes to fight or flight. You can't have fight or flight if you want to be an innovator. You've got to suck it up. You've got to look at it. You've got to encourage that in your socials to do that. So this woman, give her a name, SM, it was who we had at the class one night, she had an accident in her amygdala, both right and left were destroyed. She knew no fear. None. Knife point to 11, knife point to, no fear. Didn't have any recognition of it. No fear at all. Now, I'm not suggesting we should do lobotomies for all of you here, so you don't have fear. But I'm suggesting standing guard at the portals of your mind and recognizing that's part of innovation. That something's happening is important. It's not a bad sign. But think of fear. Most of the crap you worry about never happens. 90% of the stuff you worry about never happens. You spend all that time with the fear and it actually paralyzes you from doing good things. So think of fear differently. Think of FEAR as false evidence appearing real. It's not real most of the time. So you say, well, but it's real 8% of the time, so I'm going to spend 98% of my time worrying about it. Yeah, well, you've got your accent in the wrong syllable if you're doing that. You can't do that. So the idea is, what does this mean to you? It's very real to you. It means that you've got to act differently. You've got to fly in the red zone. It's where the greatest risk lurks, where the greatest opportunity arises and lives. And in this world where innovation is at a premium, it's a premium for everything we do, whatever part of the organization you're in. Always have to be innovative. Constant state of beta. But if you're not doing that, and it's not a little scary sometimes, and you're not doing it well enough, you got to do it better. If your survival is going to depend upon it, recognize your survival is working for you. It's telling you do it better. Do it better. And you're not testing, if you're not failing enough, you're not testing how good you can be. Really not testing how good you can be. So, Jeff is the perfect example of flying in the red zone. Being an incumbent and being a challenger in your own incumbency. He's the one that came to Amazon, and he built a whole new world and new rules. But one morning he saw, at a friend's house, told us, he saw a young boy breaking up his CDs. And his father was furious. Spent all that money on CDs. You're destroying them. Yeah, I don't want to stop the music anymore. I don't want to stop the music. I want to look up this thing. Listen to this thing. What thing? It's MP3. Bezos thought about that. He went home that night. He kept thinking, what happens if that disruption happens in my book business? My hardcover, softcover book business. Well, what happens? Oh my God. And when the tipping point happens so fast, today, what happens if that goes on? Wow. So you know what he did the next day? He called in his chief revenue officer, his home run hitter, and sat down and said, you're fired. It's over. You're out of your job. Gasp, before he could say a word, he said, wait a minute, I'm hiring you for your job. I'm going to put you in charge, the president of ebooks. What are ebooks? Ebooks are digital books. They'll be all in digital. Huh? So that's what's going to happen in the world. We've got to be honest. He said, well, I can do it the same way. I'm running all your revenue for hard and soft cover. I'll do it. No. You can't do it. This is the new job. Well, I'll take all the players. No. You can only take one person. And you got to kick the crap out of the other company. You got to just absolutely kick the crap out of them. And figure out, why are you doing this? He said, I have to burn the boats. He told us. What do you mean? He told the story of Cortez. Cortez landed on South America with 85 warriors, armed horses and all metal. When we landed on the shore, there were 2,500 very angry indigenous people with spears and sticks, with painted faces. It scared the shit out of these troopers. And they started to retreat to the boats. So what did Cortez do? He burned the boats. No retreat. Forced them to confront the future. This is the future. We have to go out after it. And Bezos told this guy, and I'm burning the boats for you. This is your future. You want it, you got it, you don't, you got to move on. Of course, he did it. He allowed a challenger to live inside of his incumbency and challenge his incumbency rather than somebody outside. He knew that innovation meant change, change meant challenge, and he wanted to be a challenger of his own incumbency. And the new story is a way to ignite and tell his partner, who became his full partner, this whole process. And that person told the story to all of his people, which made sense, some sense of the process. So what this means to you? It means if you want to be innovative, take risks. Be willing to value legacy, but not vice locked onto tradition. You've got a beautiful company, wonderful leadership, but it's yours to manage. That innovation spirit is yours to manage. It can't be managed for you. You have to have that attitude. You can't put every God left out. You've got to work it yourself. It can't be ordered into you. Innovative leaders know and accept this feeling of frustration and disappointment. It's got to be coming in a world where the rate of change is changing so rapidly. You can't wait for perfection. Perfection is the enemy of innovation. Execution means being in a perpetual state of beta. I keep repeating that. It's very important. There's no there. You are going to lose a lot. Get used to it. A lot if you're really successful. I forget often. Sitting on the floor of the Warriors game last year, and they're paying this player, I think, $10 million a year, and he has foul shots, 2 to shoot, to put us into the lead against Miami Heat. He misses both foul shots. I wrench. Then he gets fouled again. And he misses 2 more foul shots. I don't like that. All of a sudden, my phone goes, bing! I look, it's my pal, Pat Riley. He's the owner of the Heat, and he's in Miami, in his bed. So I'm in bed, and I'm watching him. Listen, we play 162 baseball games, 20 preseason games, and maybe 14 or 16 postseason games, 82 basketball games, 12 preseason games, and maybe 14 postseason games. It's like 300 games. You're going to lose a lot. Get used to it. I can't get used to it, but I recognize it. I can't get used to losing. I don't want to get used to losing, but I want to recognize it's part of the process of winning. And that's part of the process for you too. So I'm not a consultant, I'm a storyteller. I hope I've told you a couple of stories that ignite your passion for recognizing constant and never-ending change. Be an advocate and an evangelizer to inspire, perspire, and never retire. Thank you.